Yeah, we got Schizo Jigs here. UFC 295. Quick recap. Alex Pereira accomplishes a crazy feat. Double champ. First, the fastest to do it in UFC history to win 2 titles. Only 7 fights in the UFC. Only, like 9, 10 fights, 11 in mixed martial arts, period. Unbelievable. I mean, and he's the first fighter to do it at middleweight and light heavyweight. Second Brazilian fighter to do it. Amanda Nunes was the first. I mean, unbelievable feat. Beating Yuri Prochazka in a second round TKO. A lot of people thought it was a quick stoppage. There's some controversy. You get to that. Just a quick recap of the whole card, or at least the whole the last 3 fights really. Because the main card delivered all finishes, all knockouts, TKOs, whatever you want to call it. All right, the co-main was Jessica Andrade going against Mackenzie Dern. Mackenzie Dern did have a little bit of success, but she was walking straight up, and Joe Rogan kept just beating that dead horse over and over throughout the fight, chin straight up, throwing bombs, and she's definitely game. She's definitely a scrapper. She likes to get in there and mix it up, regardless of being a 4-time, brilliant Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu champion. But it just wasn't meant to be. You can't stand in the pocket with somebody as dangerous as Jessica Andrade and expect not to get hit. I mean, you're basically coming into the fire. All she got to do is throw her little arm, little T-Rex hooks, and she's going to land something big. And she's tough as nails. She could take a shot. She's been finished a few times, but she's definitely willing. You're making the job easier for the shorter fighter when you're just going in and throwing bombs with your chin up. You're closing the distance for her. And that was really Andrade's main path to victory, was a finish, and she got it. It was second round, I believe. Just a straight. I mean, she rocked her several times throughout the fight, the first couple of rounds. But Mackenzie Dern did have some success. She landed some big shots. I think she might have tried for one takedown or kind of like a judo throw, didn't get it. I mean, you got to chain wrestle. That's the thing when you got these specialists that come into the UFC or MMA period, when you're just so good at one area of expertise, of a traditional martial art like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. We had another guy who was really successful with it, and that was, I think, the most successful, being, I don't want to say one-dimensional, but that one thing that they were good at, and that was Damian Maia. I mean, Damian Maia was a beast. He went all the way to the top. He had title. He challenged for the title, but his kryptonite was wrestlers, because he wasn't able to get to the fight to where it needed to be for him to be the most successful. And that's the thing. You got another guy like Brian Ortega, who's a fantastic jiu-jitsu guy, unbelievable, T-City, Triangle City, gets finishes. For a while, he was on a streak where he was finishing everybody as soon as he gets on that neck, done. But, as they progress and get a little better with striking, same thing with Mackenzie Dern. I think she had some success. She had Jason Perillo in her corner before. Did a little training at Fight Ready down in Arizona with Henry Cejudo before this one, got rid of Perillo. And I think you could tell the difference. I'm not saying Cejudo don't have a great team. He does, great gym, all that, coaching knowledge. But I think it's just, you could tell with the style, the chin up a little more. It's a little different style than Perillo has. You more just kind of more boxing style. All those guys are just, I think he might be, as far as just striking, a better coach. I mean, for whatever, who knows why they parted ways. I don't know. I mean, maybe she just wasn't feeling it or something was going on. I mean, I don't know why she left Perillo, but I really could see the difference in just one fight. It was just the way she was throwing strikes, not much defense. And even when she got rocked, there was really no clinch game even attempted there. She was just still kind of just, all right, just kind of stagger back and then go right back into it, just head up and just throwing bombs. And she does hit hard. She has a good chin. She's tough as hell. She didn't actually go out, but she got dropped a couple times. And that last time, you could tell she was out of it. Andrade would have just pounced on her. She just basically kind of just flailed over on her back, kind of rolled to her back, just like if she was going to pull guard type thing. But you don't want Andrade on top of you. I don't care what, your credentials are in jiu-jitsu. When you got a beast like that and you're hurt, Andrade is just going to destroy at that time. And just a bad game plan, same thing I was saying, go back to what I was just saying with T-City, one of the best jiu-jitsu guys out there as well. And right away, when he had the fight with Max Holloway where he kind of got pieced up for 4 or 5 rounds until they stopped it, I didn't think he showed a lot of toughness in that fight, but he wasn't able to get the fight where it needed to be. which was in his world. He couldn't take Max to his world, which is the ground game. He was just basically trading punches with Max, which, most people that do that with Max over 4 or 5 rounds, they're going to be in trouble for the most part, just because of the volume, the toughness of Max. We've never even seen him rocked, so he could stand there and trade all day. So that's just another example of just a horrible game plan, like as far as getting the fight to where you're the best at. Like if you're this much better than everyone else in one attribute, you need to find a way to get the fight to this attribute where you're at. That's the ground game. And like right away, he's like, well, when it happened with T-City and Holloway, I'm firing my coaches. Everyone on the line, fire your striking coach and this and that. Honestly, it was like, if anything, don't fire anybody, up your wrestling game. You need to up your wrestling, get a better wrestling coach, or up that game, concentrate more on that so you could get the fight to where it needs to be. And it was the same thing with Mackenzie Dern, in my opinion. Like, she just really needs to get the fight to where she can showcase her jiu-jitsu. You're that much more elite than everybody else at that game, then you got to be able to get it there. If not, then it's just a waste of talent, a waste of those tools and that skill set that you're not even be able to showcase. So, I mean, she would have been able to get that. I mean, I'm sure that everyone was kind of thinking, if this goes to the ground, it could be over. But she couldn't get it there. Like Andrade isn't that easy to take down. She's tough. I'm sure she's a black belt herself. So, and she just hits hard. So, I mean, you basically try to beat her at her own game, and it didn't work out for her. She'll be back. She's young. She's hungry. And right away, she's already has a good attitude about it. I just hope she does, like, instead of just, tuck the chin for sure, but also just worry about, I think, upping the wrestling game so you can get it to where you could thrive, So who knows what's next for both of them. I mean, back to the drawing board for Mackenzie Dern. Andrade is now back in the mix after having a few tough fights, so a few tough losses at the top. But everyone she's fought has been at the top. So, this was a big fight for her to get right back in the mix. And the co-main was Tom Aspinall versus Sergey Pavlovich, and I was totally wrong on this one. I thought Pavlovich would get him in the first round knockout. It was a first round knockout, but the other way. And, they're both big, heavy hitters. It was that type of fight. Whoever's going to land big first could go out. And Aspinall showed good movement, even though he kind of has his chin up a lot too. But his footwork and movement, it's more like a boxer type style. He had more ways to win as well with the grappling aspect, which Sergey probably had to respect a little bit. Sergey makes a little mistake, kind of held back on a couple punches, it seemed, and Aspinall just caught him clean and pounced on him and put him out, So, props to freaking and congrats to Tom Aspinall, who just came in there and he got the interim belt. So now he's going to have to, according to Dana, he's going to have to wait. They're still going to do Stipe versus John Jones, who was originally set to be the headliner at UFC 295 at Madison Square Garden, but they switched it now because of Jones got injured. Already had surgery, already in, I won't say rehab like Dana said. He's already in recovery mode and, doing all that. So they're going to probably fight sometime next year, maybe 8 months from now, 9 months. I mean, who knows how long he's going to take to recover from this, which kind of sucks for Tom Aspinall because, like, the John Jones and Stipe fight, I think online and just throughout, MMA, community, the MMA community, it kind of seems to have lost his luster. Like, it don't seem like a lot of people are really into that fight anymore. They're not invested, like, oh, we can't wait for this fight. Because before, it definitely was a super fight. Heavyweight GOAT versus UFC GOAT, And so that fight, and I still want to see the fight, but it kind of just leaves Aspinall waiting. What's he supposed to do? Is he going to defend the interim bout, or is he just going to sit and wait? I mean, he's in a tough spot now. He's going to get pay-per-view points now and all that, so that's great. But, I mean, I think a lot of people kind of want to see either John Jones against Aspinall or even Stipe against Aspinall. I wouldn't mind even seeing that since Stipe wasn't injured. If they could do it in a few months, Aspinall, I mean, this was a short, not even a camp. It was only a couple weeks, like 12 to 15 days notice for this fight. And he was able to get the job done, really fast. First round, I'm pretty sure uninjured, but we don't know for sure. But I mean, he could probably do a quick turnaround while John Jones is in, recovering, and have Stipe fight Aspinall, and then that rightful winner, that winner of that fight will get the rightful shot at John Jones, who actually is the champion. So, I mean, that's something, that's for Dana and those guys to evaluate and make that decision. Obviously, Dana has a lot of respect, and everyone else does, for John Jones and Stipe for all that they've accomplished. But I think that you got to kind of go with what the people want as well. And I think that people are kind of want to see Tom Aspinall fight again now. And I think he could be a nightmare. At first, I was thinking Sergey would be a nightmare matchup for John Jones, but and that's what just happens. You never know until you line them up. Anything can change. Matchups. I think Aspinall could give John Jones problems just because he does have a grappling background as well, and hits like a truck. So, and he's a little fast. He's fast for a heavyweight, probably some of the quickest hands. So, I mean, that definitely could give John Jones a problem. John Jones isn't the biggest puncher or kicker, really. But he is the best game plan. The best game planner. You know what I mean? So he could come up with that championship game plan and do what he needs to do to win and bring out that inner dog in him. So, I mean, that's something also to consider, but it's kind of a more like intriguing matchup at this point just because of what Aspinall did on Saturday. So, I mean, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think Aspinall should fight Stipe, or is he going to have to? I mean, not should, but would you rather see him fight Stipe or John Jones, the winner of that, or wait for the winner of that, or just like I said, what is he going to do? Take another fight in between time? I mean, there's really, I don't know. That's kind of, like I said, it's kind of sucks for him, but because the UFC wants to go the John Jones Stipe route. So we'll just have to wait and see on that one. Personally, like I said, I wouldn't mind seeing him and Stipe. Just in whoever gets that fight, Stipe wins, and shit, he really is the heavyweight GOAT at this point. He's on the Mount Rushmore. He's beat all these guys. He beat DC twice. I mean, defended it more times than any other heavyweight, the belt. So yeah, I mean. But still, at the same time, it's like he hasn't fought in a long time. His last fight, I believe, was the loss to Ngannou, I believe, a few years back. So it's kind of like, it'd be a nice fight for whoever, they're about the same size. I think Aspinall is a little bigger, maybe another extra 10 pounds on him or so. He's a big boy. He's real thick, and he has a grappling, background as well. So that could be an interesting matchup, honestly. Both heavy hitters, tough as nails. I mean, I want to see that. That's what I want to see. I want to see Aspinall and Stipe. Then the winner gets John Jones, because John Jones would be healing anyway. And that brings us to the main event, which was Alex Pereira trying to get his second belt at a light heavyweight. He was a middleweight champ, got the belt from Izzy, lost that belt when the rematch to Izzy, had a fight with Jan Blachowicz, got that victory in a very close fight in Utah, UFC 291. And then this fight, he got a second belt. I mean, the fight came out. This fight was going to be fireworks no matter what. I did pick Pereira, but to me, this was like a 50-50, 51-49 type of a matchup. Both guys explosive. Both guys have knockout power. I mean, one's more of a technical striker, and the other one's more unorthodox. Yuri's more unorthodox, moving his head, switching stances, and doing all this stuff. And that's what I think kind of, Pereira did kind of catch the timing as far as every single time that Yuri would switch stances from southpaw and go back to orthodox, he would time that and just intercept it with the leg kick, with the low calf kick. And he landed several in that first round. The first one he landed, I think, dropped Yuri or spun him around. I can't remember exactly, because there was several times where he either spun him or dropped him around, and dropped him from a leg kick, just from that low calf kick. Just good timing more than anything. Like as soon as he switched stances, planted the foot, boom, he was already getting hit with it. So it was something that he was aware of and maybe game plan for. And Yuri does switch stances a lot, but I think in those leg kicks, those low calf kicks, caused him to do it even more than he normally does. So he was going southpaw a lot, and and he had success, man, just throwing his little head movement and switching stances, throwing uppercut, landing on Pereira. He had moments in that fight as well. First round was, I think the story was Pereira's leg kicks, and then Yuri did get a takedown where he kind of picked up Alex. I wouldn't say picked him up and slammed him, but kind of picked him up a little off the ground, dumped him enough to end up on top for about a good minute and a half or two. About 30 seconds left or so of the round. Pereira was able to get back up, did a really good job defending from his back. Alex Pereira, you could tell, I don't think he's trying to throw up triangles and do all that attack and stuff, but he does a real good job of just controlling the arms and wrists and, grabbing on the back of the neck and stuff like that, just making it like more tiring for you to even hold him down. Or like like I always said, wrist control is key. Like if you're holding their hands, they're fighting your hands, the hand fighting, then it's a lot tougher for them to do stuff, even to find the space to throw bombs. Yuri landed he didn't really get much damage, maybe 2 or 3 elbows right at the end of it before Alex was able to get up. Nothing that damaging. So first round still, I think that everyone probably thinks, went to Alex Pereira 10-9. Second round, Yuri kind of had a little bit more success. He was throwing a little wild still, but leading with the 1-2 or just throwing a big overhand right, and he landed a few. And there was a time where I was yelling at the TV. We're at Buffalo Wild Wings watching it. I'm like, get out of the corner, get off the cage, because Pereira started getting backed up to the cage, and that's where you don't want to be against somebody like Yuri, because Yuri could just throw bombs, and if he gets you trapped in that cage, everything he throws is heavy. And he had a lot of success there. And there was a few times where I thought Pereira was in some serious trouble. I don't know how hurt he was. Maybe he wasn't hurt at all, but he definitely was backed up against the cage, and had to, do a little, quick maneuvering and just to circle out. He does a good job of circling out and not just staying there and laying up against the cage, because I think that would have been even worse for him. But he was able to circle away and get out of danger, without taking too many big shots, but he was getting hit with some big shots here and there. As far as the hand game, Yuri was able to, like I said, he's unorthodox, throw some weird angles. He's fast. He's got pretty good movement. He has his hands down a lot. And it was just the final sequence. They exchanged leg kicks. Yuri, I think it was a 1-2 where he came over the top with a big overhand right that kind of sent Pereira not staggering, but walking back towards the cage. And then Yuri got a little overzealous with it and kind of just started letting off, kind of like what Pereira did to Izzy in the second fight, where he thought he had him in a lot of trouble. He smelled blood, and he just started just getting crazy with it. And then, Izzy was able to catch that counter right hand and put him to sleep. This was kind of similar, but in a regard, but it was opposites. Yuri was coming in a little bit crazy. And not even that reckless, just, he smelled blood. He has his hands down. He's not coming in like that. He was throwing bombs, and Pereira just hit him with this really quick right hook, like little right hook, and then a left hook, just like a bing, bing, like so fast, just with it. You can't barely see with this camera angle, but just like it was almost like he got hit with this punch, and just to run right into the left hook. But like it was just there to get ran into almost. It was so precise with it, and where it's just like bing, bing, and then he just dropped, so, and then he grabbed on right away, like try to grab Pereira's legs. That's, survival instincts, that's what you're going to do. You're going to try to grab on just to get your head back. And then Pereira landed a couple little hammer fists, and then like some serious elbows from the side. A lot of people thought they were back of the head. I think the angle he had, I think they were legit side of the head. Just right by the ear area. And Yuri did fall back, like he did go limp. There's multiple angles that come out now that you could kind of see where he did go limp for a second, and then just kind of got pushed over because of the way he went limp, and Pereira's forward like bucking motion to landing him straight into mount. So really Pereira, if Mark Goddard didn't step in and stop it at the time he did, I think he, the way he's seen, Yuri fall and slump over, you don't. I think that's the last place you want to be if you're anyone. Alex Pereira on top of you. We don't even know what his ground and pound's like. What I'm saying, because he pretty much finishes everyone on the feet. But I can imagine, the way that, as vicious as those elbows were just up against the cage, could imagine if he's raining down full force with elbows and punches from the mount. And Yuri was definitely in trouble. Like first. The first time you see it, I think I'm like everyone else. I thought it was a quick stoppage. I was saying it. I was like, oh man, that was quick. Like you wanted to see your guy win, but not like in some type of weird way, because then it's always going to be an asterisk, or it's always going to be like, oh, was that a quick stoppage? Or then you got Joe Rogan, Daniel Cormier. Oh, that was a little bit quick, and this and that. Then Yuri gets on the mic and says it was the right call. He was out. And and then he comes back with a statement later, maybe a few more seconds. It could have been different, but who knows? But he didn't try to get up right away. He didn't argue it immediately when Mark Goddard stepped in and Pereira rolled off him and started celebrating. It wasn't like he jumped up and like, hey, like Kobe did when he got rocked against Usman. It wasn't like he jumped up like, hey, I'm right here, like he was staggering or anything. He kind of tried to get up and he kind of staggered a little, so he didn't get up. He was still out of it for sure. So who knows what a few more punches would have did, but I get it. Championship fight, we want to see that. We want that finality. We want that fatality almost, just as fans. We want to see it where it is closure, it is clear cut, not like, oh, what could have happened or woulda, shoulda, any of that. But after seeing multiple angles, obviously Mark Goddard's, his job is to protect the fighter. That's what he's there for. That's his main job, his only job, is to make sure these fighters are protected. He's watching. He's had a couple quick, stoppages before, and he's getting a lot of, backlash for it. And I get it. It's a championship fight. Let them go out on their shield. Let us get that final, nail in the coffin or whatever, But all in all, it was still an exciting night of fights. I mean, we got a double champ now. He was a two-time Glory champ, just got inducted to the Hall of Fame. Now Alex Pereira is a two-time, two-division UFC champ. And, so it's just unbelievable. In 7 fights to do all that. And Chael Stone, I've seen him on an interview, I think it was with DC and RC, saying that, Uncle Chael, he was saying that, he feels like Pereira might have been able to do that in his first fight. And maybe, because all his fights have been stand-up. But working with Glover, some of these guys are, former Glover opponents, so he has that insight. And to have him in his corner just really, that's game-changing right there, to have all that knowledge and experience and having to fight these guys before he fought Yuri to a 5-round war. So for him to be able to go out there and do the job with all these extra tools and insight on the fight, it's just game-changing for him. And unbelievable what he's done. He's already probably solidified his UFC Hall of Fame status as well to go with Glory, which brings that argument. Is he the greatest combat athlete of all time? I mean, Triple C, what he did was obviously it was amazing. Gold medal, Olympic gold medal, 2-division champ as well. The UFC defended both belts actually, but that's still going to be tough. He also had a controversial stoppage somewhat with TJ Dillashaw. So I would have liked to see that one go a little longer, as well. So, that's a debate right there. Who knows? I feel like the call out, like a lot of people had a problem with Alex Pereira's call out. And even I did. I was kind of like, why are you going to call out Izzy? Like, you're giving this guy, he's not even the next in line in his own division that he was reigning champ for a while, for so long. He's not even next in line there. Why are you going to give him, take away from your victory, almost like you're still thinking about this guy who beat you? But I think that kind of shows a little that this rivalry between Pereira and Adesanya might even be bigger than the belts for Pereira. Like that might be more important to him, that he just wants, because him and Izzy fought 4 times already. So Alex is 3-1. You would think, all right, 3-1, I'm good, but at the same time, they're 1-1 in MMA. So there's still that's still unfinished business. And Izzy got the last one, knocked him out cold. And, that's got to resonate and just dig at Pereira, even though he was able to do what Izzy tried to do against Blachowicz and was unsuccessful. He became a champ, a 2-division champ. So personally, with the call out, at first I was kind of like, why? Why even? It's unnecessary. But after you think about it, it does make some sense. Jamal Hill is going to be injured at least till June-ish, next summer. He's going to be out for a long time. Obviously, he's going to get the next title shot, whoever has the belt, because he relinquished the belt. He relinquished the belt when he had his Achilles injury with that promise, that you will be next, and pay-per-view points. So, I mean, obviously he's next, but the same time, because he never really lost the belt, just like Yuri, But the thing is that he's going to be out for so long. Pereira might, be able to go and get that back with Adesanya, be a huge, pay-per-view and make a ton of money. I'm sure they made a shitload in the first 2 fights, first 2 matchups. So, I mean, that would be huge, So I kind of see why Pereira did it. And then when he explained the fact that, Izzy motivated him because he was just in the bar drinking every day, drinking problem, just getting drunk. And then Izzy basically said in an interview, like, well, yeah, that's a guy who's going to be 50, 60 years old, be like looking at Izzy, or looking at Adesanya and be like, yeah, I beat that guy once, or twice in kickboxing or whatever. So that motivated Alex just to put down the booze, get hardcore about training. And just, that's when he got to his stone cold, like revenge, killer mode, and came in and it's just to go after everything Izzy ever had and wanted, So I mean, that might, like I said, that I could see, and he's trying to say that, like that motivated him so much, and he kind of wants to return the favor because Izzy came out and said that he don't want to fight again to 2027. So Pereira's like, well, that's kind of like wasted talent. It would be a shame. We want to see you come back, So it was really a respectful call out. I think it might have got lost in translation. But still, when he said, Adesanya, like, come to daddy, at the end of it, that was kind of trolling him a bit too. So obviously, Izzy, came back, with the frozen Elsa knockout and let it go and all that stuff that he puts on social media, like he did after the first fight, like I'm in your head rent free, all that, talking about Pahea. But as far as the call out, I mean, I get it. Obviously Jamal Hill deserves it and is next. And that's a crazy matchup right there. Jamal Hill absolutely could knock out anybody. He has huge power. He has a really good mind and a high fight IQ, in my opinion. But it's another fight that Glover has fought, and I feel like leg kicks could, so there's insight there. And I feel like even in that fight when Glover was fighting Jamal, I felt like Glover, not to take anything away from Jamal at all, but I thought Glover had a horrible game plan. Like literally from almost the opening bell, he's shooting from the center of the cage, not setting it up, trying to go for double legs and this and that. That's not really Glover's style of wrestling. Usually he backs people up with the punches to the cage and then clinches, maybe gets the takedowns that way, dragging them down. Not so much just, like just shooting from the middle of the, cage and doing all that. It was really telegraphed, and Jamal Hill was able to pick up on that and pick him apart on the feet. But also I felt like Glover could have thrown a lot more leg kicks, because when he did throw some leg kicks, he had success against Hill. He only threw a few, so it wasn't enough. But someone like Pahea, who's no wind up with those low calf kicks, and he's constantly throwing them, I mean, that could be game changing for Hill. Obviously, Hill has huge power. I mean, he could counter, those leg kicks maybe with the right hand, time it, whatever, or even use some wrestling. He's come out and said that he on Mighty Mouse, the Mighty Cast, saying that he wants to just bang and he wants to knock him out at what he's best at, which is stand up. He wants to knock out Pahea, because he's getting a lot of backlash because his response to the victory was just kind of like, oh, neither one of these guys are on my level, which, I mean, it's nothing wrong with having that kind of confidence in yourself, what I mean? So if he sees the holes and he believes he could do that, he feels like he's the bigger dog who hits harder or could take more damage and wants to challenge himself that way, then, I mean, to me, all power to him. I'm not like hating on him. I will be rooting for Pahea, but I can see a path of victory for where Hill does knock him out. I mean, he's been knocked out before by Izzy, who's not nowhere near a power puncher like Jamal Hill. So, I mean, he definitely could knock him out. But I think on the other token, the other side of that coin, Pahea probably could knock him out. I mean, with his left hook, those leg kicks, I mean, his precision, his accuracy. I mean, he landed 57% against Izzy, who's supposed to be, is one of the best kickboxers of all time in UFC history. So, I mean, he's definitely deadly accurate, and he's just real efficient with his strikes. It's just more of the chin, but, his chin is held up now in two straight 205 fights at 205 against the top guys, two former champions, and his chin held up. He wasn't barraged with a bunch of shots, but he was able to take some good shots and still be in there and in this instance finish Yuri. So I mean, that's definitely an intriguing matchup. I would have liked to see Pahea even call out. Obviously not John Jones because he's hurt right now, but anyone in the heavyweight, even like almost to say like I want to come after that belt. It's obvious Jamal Hill's next, but you don't want to call out a guy who's injured anyway. Like Jamal, he could have just said, Jamal Hill, we need to make you're next in line. If you want to come try and get your belt back, whatever, come, I'll be right here. He could have said something like that, but, maybe Hill wouldn't have felt so disrespected with the Izzy call out. But I would have liked to see him call out, I don't know, Tom Aspinall, that's a scary guy to call out, but maybe anyone in the heavyweight division just to try to be like, let me go after a third title in the UFC. Because, I mean, I think a favorable matchup, if it's a good matchup, maybe a smaller heavyweight anyway, or medium size like him, because he could definitely fight heavyweight, both these guys, Jamal Hill or Pahea. That would be interesting, because if he went up to heavyweight and got another belt, that's literally a triple-double champ. That would be 3 times champ in the UFC, which no one has done yet, and 2 in glory, triple-double champ. So it's like, I mean, how many, that's like quintuple champ, that's crazy. So then, for sure, there's no argument. Greatest combat athlete of all time. So, I mean, that would be, even Triple C couldn't argue that one. What I mean? So that's what I would have liked to see, and that's what I think would be a nice goal. But who knows if Pahea even wants to do that? I don't know. Yeah, as you age, weight cuts get tougher, you know, things, you know, becomes more difficult. He's getting up there in age, 36, 37, or something like that. So, you know, that might be a natural progression for him to move up to heavyweight. And they say the last thing to go is your power, basically. So, and he already has all the technical ability in the world. Like I said, those low calf kicks, those are devastating. Nobody's checking them. They're kind of hard to check because they're so low. I mean, there's nothing you really can do about it. And he times them so perfectly. No wind up, no anything, just throws them out there. And obviously they're damaging. After the first 2 or 3, you already seen it, or even the first one, you already seen a huge red mark on Yuri's leg, and you could tell he was definitely compromised already the first round. Like that's why he switched to go to wrestling and try to get. And he did take Pereira down, but second round he wasn't able to do that. To go back to it, he got caught before he was able to do it. So it's exciting. It definitely changed up the 205 division again. Seems like no one since John Jones has left that division, nobody's been able to keep the belt. But interesting times. Let me know what you guys think. Who should Pereira fight next? Should he go fight Izzy, give him that shot, just get some closure there? It'll be 2 out of 3 in the UFC, in UFC and MMA fights. Or should he just sit around, wait for Jamal Hill to recover, which might be May, June, July, who knows? You know, summertime next year. You know, it's an Achilles. I mean, it's not. We're not playing basketball here, but I know when you play basketball, your season's done. Something like that happens, like it's gonna take a whole year to recover from that. So that's a major injury. But fighting, it might be a little different. Who knows? It's gonna be tough. I mean, that's a tough decision. Who do you guys think? Do you think he should fight Hill? And who do you think takes that? Who's the early favorite on that one? I would still have to favor Pereira just with the leg kicks and all that. And I mean, and don't get me wrong, like you said, Hill's fast. He has big power. With all the kickboxing matches that Pereira's had, I'm not sure it's anything he hasn't seen before. Maybe he has, because the way he sets up his stuff and just the mindset or mentality of the way you approach a fight. You know, we don't know what's going on in Hill's. You know, he seems like he has a great team behind him where they're all kind of one unit working together to get their goals, to get his goal, you know, to get him to the top. That could be something, you know. So, I mean, that's interesting. I mean, I don't even know yet on that fight. I mean, obviously, I'll favor Pereira a little bit slightly. It's still another, when you get to these upper weights, it's barely over 50-50. You know, skills, yeah, they matter, but big power matters too, technique, all that stuff too. So, yeah, interesting times. Yeah, let me know what you guys think. Like, subscribe. That's all I got.